You are looking live at pictures of Jay Carney, the White House press secretary. He had a tough day yesterday, which he acknowledged, citing some pictures posted of him in the Washington Post of the many faces that basically ran from grim to bemused. I think bemused was probably his best moment. Obviously, a tough moment for this administration. We'll be talking about it throughout the show. The IRS scandal targeting conservative groups with words like Tea Party and Patriot in their names. The obvious AP scandal that broke on Monday. Scandal may be too hard a word, but certainly the AP, the phone tapping, phone record seizure in secret by the Justice Department that Eric Holder has recused himself. He is testifying on the other end of Capitol Hill, testifying about that as well as a number of other things, including the IRS. He has recused himself from that investigation, as well as Benghazi. Republicans continue to highlight Benghazi, the terrorist attack in Libya, September 11th, 2012, that left Ambassador Chris Stevens as well as 3 other Americans dead. All of these things coming to a head at a very tough time for this administration. Jay Carney, the face in many ways of this administration other than Barack Obama. We're going to go to Jay. He's beginning his introductory remarks, and we expect him to face, as he did yesterday, a number of tough questions from White House reporters. So let's listen in. Actually, while Jay continues to talk, let's bring in Jenny Beth Martin from Tea Party Patriots. Jenny, Beth, we were just talking about this. We may cut in to go to Jay, but I want to get started on this, which is your group, a lot of groups similar to you. These are groups that the IRS has now acknowledged were targeted. Tell me what, it's been a relatively short period of time since this has come to light. Tell me what the reaction within your group and sort of what's happened since the IRS has acknowledged, yes, this is something that we did.
Well, there is a small sense of vindication because we've been saying that this is an issue and it's been going on for a long time. We were raising questions at the beginning of 2012 and they were brushed aside and the IRS was denying it. And there's also a sense of frustration and outrage that the government is so out of control that this could happen.
And how many like-minded or similar groups have you been in contact with? And were you in contact with them before all of this came to light, in terms of groups that also faced similar sort of circumstances, delaying and all those sorts of things? And what's the common reaction been?
Well, the common reaction has been we want to make sure that justice is served and that the people who have discriminated against Tea Party groups are held accountable.
And I apologize. I hope we will come back. This is live television. Stick with me. We are going a lot of business on Capitol Hill. This is Eric Holder. You're looking at Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, questioning Eric Holder, the Attorney General of the United States. Let's go to it.
And other agencies of the government prior to the Boston Marathon bombing, but it does not appear that all of the information was received by all of the pertinent parties, particularly the FBI, which had conducted an investigation prior to Tamerlan Tsarnaev's trip to Russia, but not after. And we would like to continue to work with you and know what the department is doing to adopt procedures for handling hits in relevant databases.
That continued is to be Bob Goodlatte, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. That is the hearing in which Eric Holder, the Attorney General, is appearing. We will pop in, pop out as news warrants, but we want to bring back Jenny Beth Martin, who is being a trooper and sticking with us. My question before we jumped into the Holder was, how has this, is there been, one of the I feel like the hallmarks of the Tea Party movement broadly is that it's a movement in a way, but it's a lot of individual groups acting of its own. Is this had a galvanizing or bonding effect? I know we're 48 hours into the IRS acknowledging these errors, but what's been the reaction among your group and other like-minded groups?
Well, we're scrambling right now to just make sure that the people who were actually affected get here to D.C. this week so they can be at the first of the hearings. And then around the country, people are saying, keep going, keep fighting. This is what we've been talking about. We want constitutionally limited government, and this was clearly not limited government.
And I want to ask you this. You've heard a lot of people, Marco Rubio called for the resignation of the IRS acting commissioner, Stephen Miller, many Democrats, several Democrats at least, including Sandra Levin from Michigan, have echoed that call. John Boehner, though, the Speaker last went a little bit further. He said this isn't about who gets fired and who doesn't get fired. This is about who winds up behind bars. Is that too much given what we know, or do you think that's an appropriate level of concern? Again, you're speaking from someone who
Right.
fought this battle.
Well,
this is not sort of, generic to you.
I don't know what the laws are that they broke, so it's hard for me to answer that and say, okay, criminal charges, that they need to be put into jail, because I don't know what the laws are. What I know is that the people who did this, they need to be held accountable, and procedures and laws need to be put in place so that this doesn't happen again. They use the IRS as a political weapon, and we can't have that no matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, left or right. The IRS is not supposed to be a political weapon, and we cannot have that in our government.
And I've asked this of other folks. Is it in your mind, is it your belief that can and should the IRS continue to oversee some of these 501c4 groups or not? Obviously, and the administration has acknowledged this is a black eye for the IRS. They are going to struggle through it. Can they, in your mind, as someone who's been affected by this, can they be seen as an honest broker going forward on matters like this?
That's why it has to be cleared up. Right now, there's a black cloud over the entire IRS. I think that their integrity has been shattered. But what other agency is going to administer this? You're dealing with organizations that have a tax status. They're collecting money, and the IRS is supposed to make sure.
Right.
So it's got to be cleaned up, because the IRS does have a legitimate purpose in our government. Now, we can debate tax reform at some later date, but right now, the way the law is set up, somebody has to administer it. It should be the IRS. Their integrity is shattered right now, and it's crucial that we get to the bottom of it so that they can do their job.
Jenny Beth Martin of the Tea Party Patriots, thank you for your perspective, and thanks for sticking with us.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And we are